Hi, this is Mikkel, and I'm going to show you how to balance the propellers for the Syma X8 series quadcopters, and also the multitude of rebranded or knockoffs there are of them. So first, this is what the propeller looks like. The hub of the propeller, where it slides down onto the gear shaft, uh, is like a hex nut shape, and so the prop will only go on it one way. And it has this metal washer right here, and the reason that washer is important is because when you slide it down over the shaft, you're gonna and put on the lock nut piece, you're gonna slide a metal pin through there and twist and lock it in place. Now, typically, the Syma X8C propellers aren't very well balanced right out of the box, and any aftermarket replacement props are going to be even worse. And the problem with an unbalanced propeller is that it's going to cause vibration right there at the motor. That vibration is going to go from the motor down the motor arm into the body, and then to the camera that you've got suspended underneath it. Then the camera's going to vibrate, so you're going to get blurry pictures and what we call jello in the video that makes the whole thing look like it's waving and almost watery looking, and so all your images are going to be crap with propellers that are badly out of balance. Now, this one off of my Syma X8HG is actually pretty well balanced right out of the box, which is, like I said, highly unusual. But so for this little demonstration, I'm going to make it out of balance. Doesn't take much to do it. Just a small piece of cellophane tape. Put it right on the end, and I want you to watch how that affects it. Just that little piece of tape. Now, let's assume that this propeller was out of balance when I got the quadcopter. One end is going to swing down. What I'm doing is I have just the screwdriver that comes with that quadcopter. Well, at least I think this is the one that came with it. Anyway, you take a small screwdriver, put it like you're going to mount it, the propeller on it, with the washer on the outer part, and holding it almost perfectly horizontal, you give it a light spin. You don't even have to try that hard. I just did because. Oops. Let me try that again, sorry. And like I showed you before, the heavy end will always go down. There it goes. I don't have to turn it. It'll go down on its own. You can even hold it horizontally like this. Let go. The heavy end will always go down. Now, when I first started monkeying around with these things, I thought, well, why don't I shave some off the heavy end? It's not, you don't have to do that. And then I took someone else's advice and added a drop of super glue to the underside of the light end. And although that seems like it's a good idea, it's really not, because you put on too much super glue, now you have to scrape some of it off. You try to scrape that off, now you've got, it's just a mess. So, assuming that this one was not properly balanced out of the box, and I'm going to find out which end is the heavy end by putting it on my little screwdriver and letting it fall a couple of times. Alright, now to balance it out, I'm going to take a piece of tape and put on the light end. Remember, the light end is the one that always goes to the top. So now with that little piece of tape on the light end, I'm going to try and spin it again and see what happens. Oop. Almost slid off. Alright, it looks like that this piece of tape, which was the original tape that I put to make it imbalanced, is still slightly heavier. So I'll add a little more to the light end. And do it again. Now, see how the blade wants to go almost horizontal. And I mean, it is so close that if I were working on this one for a quadcopter, I wouldn't mess with it anymore. I'd leave it just like that, because it doesn't want to swing anymore in one direction or the other. It just wants to rest right there. And if you want to make 100% sure, you just give it a couple more spins and see if either end swings down low or not. And this is called a static balancing, meaning that it's not under power, not in movement. There's another process called dynamic balancing that gets really complicated, and will make propellers perfectly true, but that process is very complicated and sometimes involves a lot of high-tech equipment, and you're generally using that for propellers on model aircraft that move at extremely high RPMs and are super sensitive to vibration. This static balancing is good enough for the Syma X8 series quadcopters and all of the rebranded knockoffs that use this type of propeller. And when you do this on all four props, you will get much clearer pictures and much smoother video. One other thing that I'd like to mention, on this one or any quadcopter, once you get all of your propellers well balanced and you notice that you have achieved perfect flight with these things, and your videos come out crystal clear and your pictures are perfect, make sure that you mark the propeller and the propeller arm to match them up, so in the future you're putting the same prop back on the same arm. Because believe it or not, there are tolerances between the propeller and the arm that are not universal. Each motor, each arm, each propeller is going to match up differently. So you get everything good, you got great video and good pictures, match them up. 1, 2, 3, and 4, or A, B, C, and D, I don't care. Just make sure that you have them properly matched as well as properly balanced. I had some perfect video out of a different drone quadcopter. No, it was a drone, it really was. And after that perfect flight, I took it all apart and put it in my kit, went home. And the next day, I went back out, put the props on it, flew it, and it just flew like crap, because I didn't match them up. All right, that's my little demo. Hope you liked it, and happy flying.